Bombers twice, and
Once
the
against the
Ticats
Argos,
twice.
that Argo game that they should have won. Man, I don't know who was coaching that day.
Oh yeah, at least that was a good game. That was probably the best game we saw all year.
It was right down to the wire.
Yeah.
In fact, it was overtime.
Yeah, because they tied it up. Yeah, it shouldn't have been overtime though. The Bombers should have won it. But...
What are you doing with a minute left in the game? You got the ball on the 25, third down, and you gamble. Kick the field goal and hold them.
Yeah. Welcome back, CFL fans. We're here, Week 18 recap. 3 games in the books. Bombers and Ticats, Stampeders and Lions, and your Rough Riders and Elks. So that would have left 3 teams off. We had the Alouettes, the Argos, and the Ottawa Redblacks. 3 East teams. We are the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Cody. He's your host, Don.
Hi, guys.
We're here with all your CFL action every week, leading all the way up to the Grey Cup on November 17th. So, we kick us off here. First game of the week, we were there. We went to Hamilton to see the 4-game win streak come to an end and the 8-game win streak extend on as the Bombers rolled over the Ticats 31-10. And they didn't look like the 4-game win streak Ticats. They looked like early season Ticats with turnovers, dropped passes, unnecessary penalties, all across the board. These guys did not look very good. They looked flat. It was tough to watch as a fan. I was cheering for the Ticats. Don was cheering for the Bombers. We had some Bombers fans on either side of us that were pretty excited, to say the least. But Oski Wee Wee, Oski Wawa, not today. Not today for those.
How about not ever?
It was just there was no chance in this game for them, and I mean, even like Zach Laris threw for 201 yards and a touchdown. Brady Oliveira 147 yards rushing. They almost had 200 yards total as a team. The Bombers did. They just couldn't stop them on the run, and they just rolled right over them.
Yeah, it was. If Hamilton wanted to make the crossover, they had to show up for this game. And they didn't. And they were only down 17-10 at halftime. It should have actually been 17-14, but they blew that. And in the last few games, even though they started off slow on the first half, then they come out like gangbusters for the second half. Well, they didn't do that at all this time.
No. Yeah, they came out. They scored 0 points in the second half. The Bombers tacked on 14 more, touchdown each quarter. And they didn't need much pyro. They spent all their pyro budget at the beginning because they knew they weren't going to use them for the touchdowns there.
That's why they only put so much pyro in the scoreboard, because they only expect Hamilton will score once or twice a game. And that way they're just saving money.
There you go. Pigskin Pete was trying to rile up the crowd, but I don't think there was much to rile up there. And
he tried a couple times, and it was like he was beating his head against the wall.
Yeah.
It was absolutely hilarious. The highlight for me for that game, like, there was some action, but the highlight for me was when the cheerleaders came onto our side of the field, and there's a one girl that's so hot. That was a highlight for me.
That was a highlight for you. There you go.
I loved it.
Yeah, not much more highlights. Powell was in there for a bit, 3 for 4 for 32 yards. But, yeah, so like we said, Bombers 8-0. They've pretty much wrapped up the West. I'd imagine.
I think they're untouchable now.
Yeah, there's 2 games ahead of the Rough Riders.
Saskatchewan has to win both. They have to lose both.
Yeah, so that's how it wrapped up for them. So they'll get the first round bye. And, anything else to note about that first game? I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it was... I'm glad we were there. We've actually seen the Bombers twice this year.
Bombers twice.
Once against the Argos. Once, and that Argo game that they should have won. Man, I don't know who was coaching that day.
Oh yeah, at least that was a good game. That was probably the best game we saw all year.
It was right down to the wire.
Yeah.
In fact, it was overtime.
Yeah, because they tied it up. Yeah, it shouldn't have been overtime though. The Bombers should have won it. But...
What are you doing with a minute left in the game? You got the ball on the 25, third down, and you gamble. Kick the field goal and hold them.
Yeah, absolutely horrible
Oh.
coaching. But yeah, and any other hopes that Ticats had for making the crossover was trounced on to by both the BC Lions and the Rough Riders winning as well. So the Lions played the Stampeders, and Jake Mayer, who I thought looked like a consistent quarterback all year, who looked like one of the best quarterbacks. You know what? He's actually turned it off, and they might need to look a different direction going forward next season. The Calgary Stampeders,
Yeah.
2 turnovers by Jake Mayer for 2 touchdowns back to back in the second quarter.
Yeah, there was one interception return for 70 yards and a fumble return for 27
in the fourth quarter. Yeah.
And it was like, if I'm a team like Calgary or a team like Hamilton, maybe even Ottawa, I'm going after someone like Alexander.
Yeah, he looked like he stepped in there for the Alouettes when Charter was out
Didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, he played it absolutely incredible.
He should not be a backup.
Yeah, and for these teams, you're right, that are looking for a quarterback next year. The BC quarterback situation is even more mess because they've got
I don't even know what's
2 great
going
quarterbacks,
on
but
there.
who knows what's going on?
Like all this hype about Nathan Rourke, and it's like, buddy, what are you doing? Like if it wasn't for Sean White
and their defense scored 14 points for them.
Speaking of Sean White, I don't know.
Well, I guess it would have been 14, and then you said 6 for 6?
6 for 6.
Yeah, so the defensive threw 6 field goals.
Yeah,
Wow.
For the player of the week, I had it between Brady Oliveira, again, and Sean White. I'm picking Sean White because he was 6 for 6 on his field goals, got two extra points, so he basically got 20 of their 32 points. And this is the game they had to win.
Yeah.
The Hamilton Bombers game, the Bombers didn't have to win that one. So he had more pressure on him, I believe. So he's my player of the week.
There you go. I like that. I agree with that. So just trying to pull up his stats here for the year. He was 48 for 51.
That's pretty good.
94% this year on field goals. Longest was 52 yards. Yeah, because he had that big streak going into the game, and then or going into the season, and then it kind of broke halfway through.
It was blocked.
Yeah. And then so he's missed. So he's had 1 blocked, and he's missed 2 field goals. I don't know if those are blocked too, but so I mean, 2 field goals out of 51. That's not too bad at all. So.
No, but and like I was explaining, this is the game they had to win.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the crossover would still be in play.
Yeah, and Hamilton would have a chance. So.
Right, so.
There you have it. I mean, 200 yards from Nathan Rourke, but nothing. They couldn't get anything going, and all 32 of their points were scored by special teams or defense, which I've never seen anything like that before. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen 32 points, nothing from the offense.
Well, and see,
how do you win a game 32, scoring 32 points, and your offense doesn't score a single?
Because you've got probably the best field goal kicker in the league, and even with an absolutely inept offense, they just have to get close enough for him to have a chance.
Yeah.
But I am so disappointed in Rourke right now.
So what's going to happen with Vernon Adams, do you think, going forward? Like, do they keep them both on the roster next year, or does Vernon Adams go somewhere else? Because it seems like BC is going to tied up with Nathan Rourke going forward.
He's not payroll conducive. Because if they keep Nathan Rourke and then they pay Adams on his current contract, for those 2 players, they're paying close to $1 million.
What's the salary cap in the CFL?
I don't know, but that's a lot more than you want to spend for a backup quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think he's going to be free. I think I don't know what
$5.5 million is the salary cap. 20% of your salary cap would be it.
Players. And I don't know how long his contract is for, but I can see him being traded.
Yeah, Calgary. I mean, another West team that'd be looking for a quarterback. Hamilton.
Because even though Bo's having not a terrible year, and he's actually playing the whole year for a change. He's
They haven't been able to win, and they haven't been able to win when they needed to.
and he's kind of up there in age too, right? Like, I mean, he may have a season or two left, but if you have the opportunity to grab somebody like Adams, who's young, you might as well get him now.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to our last game of the week. We had the Saskatchewan Roughriders in Edmonton against the Elks, a game that Elks needed to win, and they were down. Oh, no, they weren't down. They were down. No, they weren't down.
It was a back and forth game.
Back and forth game.
Back and forth game.
Roughriders on a 3-game win streak. Trevor Harris threw for 358 yards. McLeod, 79 yards. So shootout here between the two teams, but the Saskatchewan Roughriders came on top. They're on a 3-game win streak right now, and that pretty much essentially knocked the Elks out of playoff contention.
Yeah, I hate to blame what happened on an individual player, but there were 2 or 3 times at the end of the game with less than 6 minutes left that Edmonton could have been in field goal range to tie if Beatty hadn't missed an extra point.
Oh,
because they lost by 4. Yeah. They'd have been down by 3. They kick a field goal, go into overtime, but they had to score a touchdown, and that basically cost them the game. They couldn't do it.
There you go. So, yeah, because it's 28-24. Yeah, those extra points. And Beatty's let him down quite a few times this year. It's not his first time.
He is by far the worst kicker in the league this year.
Yeah.
By far.
Disappointing loss for the Elks after having such a roller coaster season losing 8 in a row and then going on a win streak, and then then they've looked kind of wishy-washy the last couple weeks, and their quarterback situation, their carousel is just as bad as BC's as well. You got between Trey Ford and McLeod Bethel Thompson, and
they could have easily won 2 of their last 3 games. They could have won their first game against the Bombers when it was 10-10 in the fourth quarter, and they still had Ford in there. Like, stop it. And then they were in the Saskatchewan game. They could have won that game.
Yeah.
Sorry, the second game against the Blue Bombers, it was over by the time they played the national.
Oh, yeah, the Bombers just so absolutely steamrolled them in that game. And, so Elks knocked out of contention here. They're sitting at 5-11. Stampeders are out, obviously, at 4-10-1. So it looks like your West will be the Bombers, Rough Riders, and Lions. Probably in that order, but I could see the Rough Riders and Lions kind of flip-flopping back and forth.
That's the way the Lions are playing right now.
8-8. Yeah. And then the Alouettes sit atop. They're already clinched. The Red Blacks are 8-6, and your Argonauts are 8-7.
I can see the Argos taking second place now.
I mentioned, so there's 2 things that could happen. Well, there's a couple things that could happen, but Argos will either sneak in second and third. They could bump up to second, or they could bump all the way down to fourth. Hamilton still is mathematically in contention because they do hold the season series against the Argos. But they would need to win their next 2 games, and the Argos will need to lose their next 3 games in order for them to make the playoffs. So not likely to happen. Is possible. We'll see what happens next week. When the Argos host the Blue Bombers, who are on a big 8-game win streak. But like we said this week, Bombers don't need to win now.
No.
So at what point do they start sitting their players? At what point do they start taking their foot off the gas?
See,
that's what's going to be interesting.
But the problem is you don't want to go into the playoffs on a losing streak.
Yes. So, right. I mean, they're playing high. You don't want... The last thing you want right now is Oliveira to get injured or to stop your momentum. So... Because you're going to already have that bye week.
Yeah,
in the first week of the playoffs. So
I can see there's a really good chance Hamilton could get past Ottawa. Because I don't know who has the actual tiebreaker in that one. But I know Hamilton beat him in Ottawa at home the last time they played. So.
But I think the tie.
Because Ottawa is
interesting, though.
Ottawa, they just look lost right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because they lost to Saskatchewan last week. the Alouettes the week before, the Tiger Cats the week before. So our last win again was against that blowout against the Argos on Labor Day.
Yeah.
But in the last 3 games, I mean, 37-21, 24-12, and 29-16. They haven't looked good, and that was ever since they dropped Raquel Armstead, their star running back. So interesting things for Ottawa. But they play the Alouettes, the Argos, and the Tigers. So Ottawa's got a tough little east road ahead for them going forward. Oh, Monday game. What's Monday? Oh, is that Thanksgiving?
Yes, it's a Canadian Thanksgiving.
So the Red Blacks will play the Alouettes on the Monday. That's exciting.
Yeah. I don't think them not having Armstead was a big deal because he didn't even play for Saskatchewan yesterday.
Did Olette play?
No,
he's still out.
I think he's out for the year.
Oh, really?
That's why they actually brought in Armstead.
Yeah.
So he had a good game.
So is there just the one game on Thanksgiving? Yeah, just the Alouettes and the Red Blacks next week.
Canadian Thanksgiving. We have ours in October. States have theirs in November, a month before Christmas, so that they don't have time to lose the fat between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, you can't work it off there. All right, so like we said, Elks lost. And next week, looking ahead to next week, let's pull it up here.
Second, we got to see how did we do this week.
Yes, let's pull that up right now. All right, so Don went 3-0 with the Bombers, Lions, and Rough Riders win.
Sweep.
Undefeated. I needed a couple upsets in this one to make some sort of comeback, but both the Stampeders and the Ticats lost, and the Rough Riders won. So 1-2. That pretty much wraps up our season bet. We'll continue on, but I think that I'll be taking Don to some sort of CFL game, maybe the Alouette, or maybe the Hamilton Tiger Cats, maybe the Argonauts, or maybe
Ottawa,
the Ottawa Red Blacks, nation's capital. So,
my choice, because well, okay, I'm up on you right now by 9 games with 11 games left.
11 total games.
Yeah.
So well, it could be like the
Detroit Tigers and Blue Jays back in the 80s.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Well,
AL East is not totally wrapped up here.
You got a lot of work to do.
So who you got in the Bombers Argos game here?
God, till they get beat, I'm going Bombers.
Yeah, it is a must win for the Argonauts. It's not a must win for our Blue Bombers here.
And that's when it gets scary, because when a team doesn't have to win, they got no pressure on them. They play so relaxed.
Yeah. Elks at Stampeders, a little battle of the Albertas.
Now this, you should have called this the toilet bowl.
Yeah, this will be the toilet bowl. I imagine MBT will start. Jake Mayer, I think they might bench him. They got to might as well put the backup in at this point and see if he can get some reps. I mean, they've got nothing to play for at this point, so I'm going to go with our Elks here.
Yeah, I have to go Elks too, because the Stampeders are just awful.
This is an interesting one. This is kind of a battle for second place here in the West. Lions at the Rough Riders. Rough Riders are going to look to continue their 3-game win streak, beating the Lions and kind of securing that second place. But who do you got?
Saskatchewan has looked decent their last few games. BC's looked horrific their last few games. Saskatchewan.
Rough Riders. I will go with the BC Lions. I got no faith in Nathan Rourke, but their defense looked good. They got the best kicker in the league. And I don't know how I feel about the Rough Riders going forward anymore. And the Ottawa Red Blacks, Alouettes, Thanksgiving Monday. This will be a fun game at 1 o'clock. Probably CTV, right?
No.
TSN.
CTV was only for Saturdays in September.
Oh. One game a week. 4
games a week. And after all the foul language that was caught on there, I guess they said, okay, we're done.
I think the Red Blacks need to win this one again. Hamilton's right there. Not right there, but Hamilton's biting at the nips there. And interesting. So I'm going to go Red Blacks.
Okay, I'm going Alouettes.
There we go.
You have a chance to pick up 2 this week. 3
games. Bring it down to 8.
Bring it down to 6.
Oh, 6.
Yeah. 9 minus 3 is.
I was thinking 11, but there's 11 total games left. So there you have it, guys. There's our picks for next week, and we'll just run quickly through our power rankings. Just looking at last week's, Bombers got to stay at the top for me.
Alouettes second. Argo's still the same.
Yeah, these two teams didn't play. I'll probably drop the Tiger Cats down and the Elks down a couple spots, and we'll put. I'll probably move Saskatchewan up to 4th, BC up to 5th, and then Elks, Red Blacks, Ticats, Stampeders.
The only change that I will be making is BC and Hamilton. They can swap.
Move BC up one. Yeah, you had Saskatchewan at 4th already, and the Red Blacks didn't play at all, and the Elks.
And that's why I'm
and
not
Stampeders are at the bottom.
Because I only make one change in my power rankings.
Well, look at all the changes you made last week. That's quite a bit. All right, there you have it for power rankings. Let us know what you guys think of our power rankings. 3 weeks left to go in the season, so these pretty much probably will look very similar going forward as the playoffs kind of wrap up, or the playoff spots wrap up, and we get closer and closer to the Grey Cup on November 17th. So thanks again for watching, guys, and make sure you hit that like button and hit subscribe as well if you like CFL content. And that's about it for today, I think.
Yes, 98% of you who watch the videos have not subscribed. Let's kind of make a little turnaround on that.
Round it out, yeah.
We would appreciate that.
Bump up stats.
Let's just get this thing going and growing.
All right, you heard it. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next week for CFL Week 19. There you go.
See you later.